What's up? My name's Andrea Vincent, and today I'm going to tell you where you should live in Southwest Washington. It is my number one question I get, so stick around and find out where you should live. My name's Andrea Vincent, and I am a local real estate broker down in Southwest Washington State. And I absolutely love getting phone calls from everywhere around, from people who are looking to move to Southwest Washington, and they are like you, watching my YouTube videos, and they send me a text, an email, give me a phone call, and I just think it's the coolest thing ever. I'm a real person. Don't be afraid to reach out to me. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you can be notified when my new videos come out. Alright, so the number one question I always get when people contact me is, where should I live? Here are 5 things that I'm looking for, and I don't know where to live. Or they say, well, we're looking in this area, and they tell me what they're looking for, but that area doesn't match their items that they're looking for, and so I give them a little tour of where else they should consider and look. So today I'm going to bring up a map, and I'm going to just give you little bits and pieces about Southwest Washington and what they're kind of about. That way you really know where you should be looking and where you should consider. So going to the map, we'll start out with the Longview Kelso area. So you're basically considering Stella, Coal Creek, West Longview, and Kelso, which is basically right here, but it extends, out into this area. So if you're looking for, more acreage, you're going to be wanting to look in probably the Kelso and outlying areas where there's still some farms, there's still some acreage. However, it can get more expensive out there because you do have that acreage, a lot bigger houses sometimes. Obviously, you have the main part of Longview, and the closer you get to this industrial park, so Industrial Highway is basically 432, and this here is basically kind of the industrial way, and your industrial stuff is over here. So the houses that get closer to this industrial part tend to get a little bit more, the neighborhoods are a little bit more raggedy than if you move closer into Longview or West Longview or Longview Heights. Some new developments are going out here along the 411 out into this area. There's some nice, the Longview Heights is very nice. So Longview Kelso area, you have major medical there. You have different school districts. You have a lot of your major entertainment. So there's a lot more jobs in the Longview Kelso area, Cowlitz County. And also, if you notice, oh good, we have a winter storm warning, fantastic. If you notice, Longview is about 40 minutes maybe to Portland. So you also have Vancouver, you have Ridgefield, which are also major jobs. However, those major jobs come with the I-5 travel corridor, because that's your major thoroughfare from Longview south down to Portland, Vancouver, Ridgefield. So if you don't like that grid traffic, that might not be for you, unless you can stick with a job right around Longview Kelso. There's obviously always, it's major traffic, it's I-5, so there's accidents, there's, you name it. So that's a little bit about Longview Kelso area, Cowlitz County. If you take SR4 going west, you will start to run into Cathlamet. And so Cathlamet pretty much encompasses Puget Island here. This here is Puget Island. You have Cathlamet. You have the Ilwaco, and you also have other little areas. So, you know, your Cathlamet area is pretty large. So here you are in Wahkiakum County, a much more relaxed county than your bordering Cowlitz County or Pacific County. Wahkiakum County. I'll pull it up here. Here is your bordering Wahkiakum County. Does not have zoning unless you are actually in the town of Cathlamet. Otherwise, there's no zoning, right? So it's one of those things where as long as you don't piss your neighbors off, you're pretty much okay. That being said, this whole area of Wahkiakum County, you get a lot more acreage for your buck. That's where a lot of folks go to get their acreage. Farmhouses, you know, have your chickens, your goats, your horses. On the island here, Puget Island, there's actually cattle farms, sheep farms, there's a dairy farm. And so there's a lot of people who want the more country living, want the smaller town living, but they want the bigger jobs. So they will live in the Cathlamet area and drive the half hour to Longview, Kelso to work in some of the major medical and that sort of thing. So there is that option there. There's also the, you know, if there's the major shopping. So Cathlamet area, you are about 30 minutes to Longview, Kelso. So if you want to live out in the country, want a little bit more acreage, don't want a lot of the rules, regulations, zoning, that's a good spot for you. And then if you need to travel to work, Longview, Kelso, 30 minutes away. You are about an hour and 15 minutes maybe from the Portland airport in the Cathlamet area. You also have on the backside of Puget Island, there is a ferry that goes from Puget Island to Westport, Oregon. So you can jump on a 12-minute ferry ride in your car and travel over to Oregon. So you can work in any of these areas over on the other side of Oregon. So Skamokawa also goes kind of along with Cathlamet. Basically, Skamokawa, Cathlamet are the east side of Wahkiakum County. Skamokawa is a lot of acreage places out there, a lot of farms, backwoods living. Skamokawa's, you know, we do have the Wahkiakum County Fairgrounds in Skamokawa. There is the Skamokawa Resort, the Duck Inn, which has really good food actually. It's a great place to hang. It's a bar and grill, has really good food. You have Vista Park here. You have a little plant nursery, Columbia River kayaking. There is this Steamboat Slough Road, which is my favorite road to go birding on because it goes all around the Columbia Whitetail Deer Refuge, the Julia Butler Hansen Refuge. And so it leads all the way back out to SR4. So a really cool refuge in Skamokawa there. So the west side and east side of Wahkiakum County is separated by just a little mountain called KM. And it's actually, it's crazy how much the west side and the east side are kind of separated by this mountain. A lot of folks on the east side don't know much about the west side and vice versa. Both sides kind of stick to each other's own separate sides. A lot of folks on the west side of Wahkiakum County, and here I'm talking about Grays River, Rossburg, Deep River, Altoona Pillar Rock Road. This is the west side of Wahkiakum, and they mainly kind of group up with Nacelle. That's because you have the Nacelle Grays River School District here in Nacelle. And so a lot of folks kind of group this as one area, however, it is two separate counties. So on your west side of Wahkiakum County, your Rossburg, Grays River, Deep River, Altoona Pillar Rock Road, like I was saying, it's also another great spot for a lot more acreage with houses. However, the one thing that I need you guys to make sure you understand is that there is flooding. There is flooding in the Skamokawa Valley. There is flooding in Grays River. The Grays River floods. Rossburg floods. Altoona Pillar Rock Road does flood. Deep River does flood. These are all tidal-based rivers. As you can see, ocean out here, Columbia River, and you have tidal-based rivers. So when you get those full moons, king tides, heavy rains, that all equals lowland valley flooding. Why is that important? Because you need to contact me, who knows all about these areas and knows about these things, to point you in the right direction of where you should or should not go. Another really important thing that I want to point out about the entire county as a whole, Wahkiakum County, you're going to find more of your listings in the Cathlamet area. Because it is a little bit bigger, there's a little bit more turnover there. Not a lot though, still. Puget Island is an island. You take a bridge over to it, and like I said, there is that ferry on the backside. You can go to Oregon. The thing you need to pay attention about Puget Island is if you're buying land, your septic systems are going to be one of those engineered expensive systems because of the groundwater table and the water. So, super important. Get a hold of me and I can point you in the right direction for all of these things. The other thing, talking about listings, is the west side of Wahkiakum and including Nacelle. We rarely get listings on the west side of our county and in Nacelle. So, super important. If you see a listing, if you are interested in those areas and you've been watching and you see this and you see a listing come up and you're interested, do not hesitate to reach out to me, because I am a local broker here and I know all about the area, and I can get you, we can get started right on that offer and get you going on it. So let's go back to the west side here of Wahkiakum County, back to my map. From pretty much the west side, including Nacelle, this area here, Grays River, Rossburg, we are about 40 minutes down and across to Astoria, Oregon. So that's where you'll find your major medical, your major shopping, your major jobs. But like I said, there's rarely any listings over on this side because a lot of folks do live over on this side and travel across to Astoria to work. There's also generations upon generations of families that still live in these areas. And so housing turnover is just not prevalent. Rentals in this whole area, Wahkiakum County, the entire county as a whole, is very rare. You rarely find rentals, and if you do, they'll most likely be on the Facebook Marketplace. So that's where I highly suggest you go look to see if there's ever any rentals. So I want to take you up to Raymond and South Bend, the Willapa area. Get my little pen. So Raymond, South Bend, Bay Center, Nema. This whole stretch of the 101 on the Willapa Bay is awesome. I kind of think it's like a hidden gem still, and it is part of Pacific County. So you do have a little bit more rules and zoning in Pacific County. However, Raymond, South Bend, Bay Center, Nema, some other small points. There's Lynn Point. Nacelle is actually also, half of Nacelle is part of Pacific County. So up here in Raymond, a lot of folks will live in Raymond, South Bend, and then these folks will go up to Aberdeen or to Olympia, Tumwater area, Lacey to work and for major medical and for specialists. So you still have very small town living in Raymond and South Bend, but you're, still not too bad of a drive to major cities for those bigger jobs, for the bigger entertainment, for the bigger medical, but you can still have that small town living. I think these are great little gems. I say that because these areas still of Pacific County haven't, obviously the home prices have inflated all over Southwest Washington. However, you can still get houses with some decent land in these areas like Raymond, South Bend, Bay Center, Nema areas that are still a little bit less than like the Long Beach Peninsula. That has inflated higher. That's probably the highest inflation part of Pacific County. So I think these are great little spots. South Bend is known a lot for its oyster beds. You'll have the got the Bone River here, a lot of natural areas and reserves and preserves. You have oyster farming all out in the Willapa Bay. You've got your mountains, plus you're not too far again from the Long Beach Peninsula. Do some clamming, go across to Astoria, Oregon, and when you're up here in Raymond, South Bend, you also have closer access to Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, and Tacoma, just a little bit further. So you do have some of the bigger cities, Aberdeen. You've got, your Westport and Tokeland around the bay on the west side. So I still think they're great little gems in Pacific County. We're going to go a little bit down south now and talk about the Long Beach Peninsula. So I'll start at the north end of the Long Beach Peninsula. Long Beach Peninsula is 28 miles long, and you wouldn't think it until you drive it. So I always encourage people, when you're looking in the north part, which is Oysterville, Ocean Park, drive it, because it is a distance from, like, say, Ilwaco or even Long Beach all the way up the peninsula to those northern areas. However, those northern areas, you get, I find more probably retirement folks up there because it's quieter. So, so let me start with, you do deal with some HOAs, CC&Rs, a lot in the Ocean Park area, Clips and Beach area, probably a lot with the northern portion of the Long Beach Peninsula here. You have the Bay side, which is along the Willapa Bay. And then obviously you have the ocean side along the Pacific Ocean. Oysterville is a really cool historic town. Really old, cool houses. They have like the placards on them that you can go read. You have Ledbetter Point State Park. It is super cool. It's got trails all through it. You can walk and hike and check out the bay. And so you have a lot more rules and regulations up in Ocean Park. There is a school up there. There's a couple grocery stores up there. And so if you want to stay out of kind of the rat race of the touristy part of Long Beach, the northern portion of the peninsula is great. You can find more turnover for housing up there, and housing is a little less up there, unless you're on the ocean side. But that's where you'll find your great ocean view houses up there, and some awesome bayfront houses. So we cruise down a little bit closer to the port, and you have Long Beach and Seaview, and these are your main tourist areas. Long Beach, the main dragon there, it's got all your tourist attractions, it's got all the shops. That's where a lot of folks go to hang out during the summertime. So during the summertime, absolutely it gets packed. Rod Run, it's crazy. So during your events, when I lived on the peninsula and you're a local, you learn to take the side roads, take the back roads to get anywhere up north, or to get down the peninsula if you need to get down. But that is the main touristy area. However, it's also a great place to live because you are a little bit closer if you, say, work over in Astoria, Oregon. Seaview, it's just a tiny little town. Most people just consider it part of Long Beach. So it is a little bit harder to find places to buy in Long Beach and Seaview. So if you go a little bit south, that's where you find the Port of Ilwaco. Here you have Ilwaco. Here is the Port of Ilwaco. You have your Coast Guard over here, Cape Disappointment State Park, the Beards Hollow Trailhead that goes all the way, I'm not sure if that one does, but there is a trail that goes from Ilwaco all the way up north the peninsula. It's a bike trail, walking trail, jogging. There's the famous Lighthead out here on the tip, and the mouth. This is what we call the bar, where the ocean meets the river. And so it's a small fishing town. Ilwaco itself is a very small town. It will be crazier in the summer because tourist and fishing is a huge part of the town of Ilwaco. You've got charter fishing, you've got obviously salmon fishing, ocean fishing, tuna fishing, and so that is a very busy portion in the summertime. There is a school in Ilwaco. There's also a hospital. The main hospital for the Long Beach Peninsula is pretty much right in this area in between Ilwaco. Well, it is in Ilwaco. So it is right here. This is Black Lake. It's cool because WDFW stocks that lake with tagged trout so you can win cool prizes. It's kind of like fishing to play the lotto. And so it is touristy. You can find houses. A lot of them are the older historic homes. There is some new development up in the hills that you might find coming up. And then I'll take you along here. So the 101 that goes into Chinook, that is also a fishing port town, and it is also busy during the summertime because there is a boat launch here, and it is also commercial fishing. There's also a cannery or a commercial fishing dock and buyer there, as well as in Ilwaco. So it is a big tourist town. Chinook is pretty cool, so you can't really expand out from Chinook. So there's not going to be a ton more development in Chinook. One, because from what I've heard, the water supply, as well as there's not a lot more building land available. So if you find a home that comes up in Chinook, in Ilwaco, in any of these small towns that don't have a ton of listings come up, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I am more than happy to help you get that process going. So, a lot of folks that live closer on the southern part of Long Beach Peninsula, Ilwaco, Chinook, they all, most all of them go across the river to Astoria, Oregon for your major shopping, your major medical, your major entertainment. Warrenton is growing a lot. It's got your Costco, a Tractor Supply. It's growing out that way. It's got a Walmart. So that is the basics of southern or southwest Washington. And I pretty much covered all of Cowlitz County, Wahkiakum County, as well as Pacific County. So each of them have their pluses and minuses, and I go into a lot more of those on the specific pros and cons of the individual towns. However, this is a good rundown of maybe where you'd like to reside, and if you're thinking about your employment and maybe you'd like to work in Astoria rather than down in Portland or Vancouver, to avoid traffic. Maybe you're looking for a place to retire and you'd like somewhere a little bit quieter that maybe has some of those HOAs and CC&Rs that restrict a lot of vacation rentals. And so I am a great person to help you find exactly what you're looking for. I love to get a list of items that you're looking for, what your budget is, and I can kind of help you pinpoint areas of where you should look and maybe where you shouldn't look based on what you like and what you don't like. So I hope that I gave you a good idea of places to live in Southwest Washington. Like I said, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm a real person, so don't, with a real cat that's gonna climb up here. This is my 22-toed cat, Kiki. Yes, I'm serious. So don't hesitate to reach out to me, send me a text, shoot me an email, give me a phone call, and me and my 22-toed cat would love to help you out, find a place to buy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell, and until next time, take care.